The observation deck of Olympus Station hung in the darkness of space like a silver jewel. Through the massive windows, Earth rotated slowly below. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. Beautiful. Peaceful. Alive. Commander Rebecca Stone pressed her hand against the cold glass and remembered what Earth looked like 3 years ago. Burning cities. Mushroom clouds blooming across continents like deadly flowers. Oceans boiling under alien weapons. The screams that filled every communication channel as 5 billion people died in a single week. The Galactic Council had come without warning. Their message was simple: submit or be destroyed. They called it a disciplinary action. They called humanity primitive. They expected surrender within days. They were wrong. Rebecca closed her eyes and saw Captain Daniel Cross again. His ship was dying, engines melting, hull breaching in a dozen places. He could have ejected. Could have saved himself. Instead, he aimed his burning cruiser straight at the Council flagship and punched the throttle to maximum. The explosion took out the entire command deck and killed 3,000 alien soldiers. She saw Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell next. The Council had landed 3 battalions on Mars to capture the fuel refineries. Sarah was just a supply officer, not even combat trained. She spent 12 hours rigging every ammunition depot, every fuel tank, every oxygen reservoir to explode simultaneously. When the aliens thought they had won, Sarah pressed the button. The entire complex vanished in a fireball visible from Earth. 3 battalions, 70,000 soldiers, gone in an instant. Humanity lost that first war. Lost badly. But they made the Council pay for every meter of ground with blood and fire. The aliens retreated, shocked that any species would fight so viciously in a war they could not win. Now they were coming back to finish what they started. Commander Stone. The voice of Lieutenant James Cooper broke through her thoughts. The Council ambassador's shuttle is approaching. 10 minutes until docking. Rebecca straightened her uniform and turned from the window. Is Ambassador Reed ready? Yes, ma'am. He's waiting in the conference room. She walked through the corridors of Olympus Station. 3 years ago, this place was crowded with diplomats, scientists, tourists from a dozen nations. Now it was a military fortress. Every civilian had been evacuated. Every room converted to armories, command centers, barracks. The walls were lined with weapons. The air smelled like oil and electricity. Ambassador Thomas Reed stood in the conference room, staring at a holographic display of the solar system. He was thin, tired, his hair gone completely gray in just 3 years. He looked like he had aged 20 years. Are we really going to do this? He asked quietly. Rebecca nodded. We don't have a choice. If we surrender, they'll enslave humanity. Work us to death in their mines and factories. Our children will be their servants for generations. That's not life. That's slow extinction. And if we refuse? They'll kill us all. Fast extinction. Maybe, Rebecca said. Or maybe they'll believe us. Maybe they'll be too afraid to attack. Thomas laughed bitterly. Afraid? Of us? They have 500 warships. We have 50. They've ruled the galaxy for 100,000 years. We've barely left our own solar system. That's exactly why they should be afraid, Rebecca replied. They've been in power so long they've forgotten what desperation looks like. They fight to expand their empire. We fight to survive. There's a difference. The door opened. Lord Theron entered with 4 armed guards. He was tall, nearly 7 feet, with skin that looked like polished crystal. His eyes were pure black, like staring into empty space. Ancient, powerful, arrogant. Commander Stone. Ambassador Reed. His voice came through a translation device clipped to his chest. I am here to receive Earth's formal surrender. You have 48 hours to evacuate your military installations and transfer control of your planet to Council authority. After that, we will begin occupation procedures. Rebecca stepped forward. No. Lord Theron tilted his head. Excuse me? I said no. Earth will not surrender. Not today. Not ever. The alien ambassador made a sound like breaking glass. Laughter. You cannot be serious. Your military is destroyed. Your cities are ruins. You have no hope of victory. You're right, Rebecca agreed. We can't win. But we can make sure you lose too. She activated the holographic display. It showed Earth first, then expanded to show the entire solar system. Then it expanded further, showing dozens of star systems throughout the galaxy. Each one marked with a pulsing red dot. These are your worlds, Rebecca said calmly. Your colonies. Your stations. Your population centers. Over the last 3 years, we've targeted every single one. Lord Theron stared at the display. His expression shifted slightly, Confusion replacing arrogance. Targeted? With what? You have no long-range capability. You barely have faster-than-light communication. We don't need it, Thomas said. We built something better. Something slower. Something you can't stop. Rebecca zoomed the display to show thousands of tiny dots moving through space at sublight speeds. These are Reaper drones. Automated warships. We launched them 3 years ago on trajectories toward every council world. They're small. Quiet. Almost invisible to your sensors. And they're carrying enough weapons to sterilize a planet. They'll take 400 to 500 years to reach their targets, Rebecca continued. But they're already too far away to recall by conventional means. And they're programmed with one simple instruction. If Earth stops broadcasting a specific signal, they activate and destroy whatever they find. Lord Theron's black eyes widened slightly. You're bluffing. Test us, Rebecca said coldly. Attack Earth. Kill us all. Then wait 500 years and see what happens to your homeworld. See if your great-great-great-grandchildren survive our revenge. This is insane, Lord Theron whispered. You would condemn the entire galaxy? Yes, Rebecca replied without hesitation. If you force us to. The Council came to our home and killed 5 billion people. You think we'll just forget that? Forgive it? No. If we die, you die. Maybe not today. Maybe not for centuries. But eventually, our ghosts will reach your worlds and finish what you started. Thomas added, you've ruled the galaxy for 100,000 years because you're careful. You calculate risks. You avoid unnecessary losses. So calculate this. Is conquering one small planet worth losing everything you've built? Is Earth worth watching your civilization burn 5 centuries from now? Lord Theron stood silent for a long moment. His crystalline skin seemed to dim slightly. The Council will not accept this threat. Then the Council will die, Rebecca said. Slowly. Painfully. Knowing it's coming but unable to stop it. That's the price of invading humanity. The ambassador turned and left without another word. His guards followed. Rebecca and Thomas stood alone in the conference room, staring at the holographic display covered in red dots. Do you think he believed us? Thomas asked. Rebecca shook her head. No. They're too arrogant. They'll think we're primitive creatures making empty threats. They'll vote to attack. Then what do? We make good on our promise, Rebecca said quietly. We show them that humanity doesn't bluff. When their fleet arrives, we fight like we did before. Harder. Meaner. We make every ship they lose hurt so badly that they'll spend the next 1,000 years afraid to even look at Earth. She walked back to the observation window and stared at the planet below. Somewhere down there, Dr. William Carter was preparing Prometheus Chain, the antimatter network that would trap both fleets in the solar system. General Marcus Blake was positioning their small fleet for maximum damage. Millions of soldiers were saying goodbye to their families one last time. 300 light-years away, the Galactic Council was voting on humanity's extermination. The decision was already made. 500 warships would arrive within weeks. Rebecca placed her hand on the window again. They think we're primitive, she whispered. They're about to learn that the most dangerous species in the universe isn't the strongest or the smartest. It's the one with nothing left to lose. Behind her, the holographic display continued showing thousands of Reaper drones crawling through space toward their distant targets. Patient. Unstoppable. Waiting. The countdown had begun. Dr. William Carter stood in the underground facility beneath Geneva, staring at the screen that showed his life's work. 3 years of research. 3 years of building. 3 years of creating the most terrible weapon humanity had ever conceived. Around him, the unified Earth Assembly sat in silence. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, scientists, the last remnants of human leadership. They had gathered to hear about Prometheus Chain. None of them looked happy to be there. Show us, said President Helen Martinez. Her voice was tired. She had been awake for 36 hours straight, coordinating Earth's defense preparations. William took a deep breath and activated the holographic display. A three-dimensional map of the solar system appeared, glowing with hundreds of red dots. These are antimatter devices, he explained. We've hidden them on asteroids, moons, space stations, even floating in empty space. Each one contains enough antimatter to create an explosion visible from neighboring star systems. And they're all quantum-linked. What does that mean? Asked General Marcus Blake. He was an old soldier, scarred from the First War, missing his left arm below the elbow. It means they're connected, William said. If one detonates, they all detonate. Instantly. No delay. No way to stop it. When we activate Prometheus Chain, the entire solar system becomes a radiation storm. Nothing gets in. Nothing gets out. Both our fleet and theirs will be trapped. The room erupted in worried whispers. Someone in the back shouted, "That's suicide." "Yes," William agreed calmly. "That's exactly what it is. But it's suicide that takes the enemy with us. They can't escape. They can't call for reinforcements. They either negotiate or we all die together." Commander Rebecca Stone stepped forward. "It's a cage match. And humanity is very good at fighting in cages. But that's not the real weapon," William continued. The holographic display changed, showing thousands of tiny objects moving through deep space. "These are." The display zoomed in on one object. It looked like a small spacecraft, maybe 30 meters long, covered in dark plating that absorbed light. Silent. Nearly invisible. "We call them Reaper drones," William said quietly. "Autonomous warships. No crew. No communication. Just programming and weapons. We launched 3,000 of them over the past 3 years, using every rocket, every shuttle, every piece of equipment we could spare." "Where are they going?" someone asked. The display expanded to show the entire galaxy. Lines stretched from Earth's solar system to hundreds of different star systems, all of them marked with Council insignia. "Everywhere," William answered. "Every Council homeworld. Every major colony. Every population center we could identify. The drones are traveling at sublight speed, so they won't arrive for 400 to 500 years. But when they do arrive, they'll do their job." "What job?" President Martinez asked, though her expression said she already knew the answer. "Planetary sterilization," William said flatly. "Each drone carries nuclear weapons, biological agents, kinetic impactors, and chemical dispersal systems. When they reach their target, they'll destroy everything. Every city. Every farm. Every living thing on the surface. They'll turn Council worlds into dead rocks." The room fell silent. Several people looked sick. One delegate stood up and left, holding her hand over her mouth. "That's genocide," someone whispered. "Yes," Rebecca said. "That's exactly what it is. The same thing the Council tried to do to us. But with one critical difference, our genocide has a timer. And they can stop it." William changed the display again. Now it showed a signal emanating from Earth, spreading slowly through space. "This is the heartbeat signal. A quantum transmission that Earth broadcasts continuously. As long as this signal keeps transmitting, the Reaper drones stay dormant. They'll fly right past their targets and drift into empty space. Harmless. But if the signal stops," General Blake said slowly, "if Earth goes silent for more than 72 hours, the drones activate automatically," William confirmed. "They interpret silence as proof that humanity has been destroyed. And they execute their revenge." "Can the Council intercept them? Disable them?" asked Ambassador Thomas Reed. William shook his head. "They're too small to track reliably. Too numerous to hunt down. And they're designed to be tamper-proof. Any attempt to hack them, board them, or disable them triggers immediate detonation. The Council would need to find and neutralize 3,000 drones scattered across the entire galaxy before any of them reach their targets. That's impossible." President Martinez leaned back in her chair. "So we've built a doomsday weapon that spans 5 centuries. "Exactly," Rebecca said. "The Council thinks in terms of power and territory. They understand fleets and armies. But they don't understand revenge that outlives entire generations. They don't understand hatred that can wait 500 years to strike." A young scientist in the back raised her hand nervously. "But, what if something goes wrong? What if Earth's signal fails by accident? A solar flare, a technical malfunction. Then the galaxy burns," William interrupted. "That's the point. The Council needs to understand that humanity's survival is now linked to the galaxy's survival. If we die, everyone dies eventually. That's the insurance policy." "They'll call it terrorism," someone said. "Let them," Rebecca replied. "We call it deterrence. Mutually assured destruction. It kept the peace during Earth's Cold War for decades. Now we're applying the same principle to the entire galaxy." Across the galaxy, in the Council's central chamber, Lord Theron presented Earth's threat to the High Assembly. He showed them the data, the projections, the images of the Reaper drones. The Council members laughed. Supreme Commander Walter Crane, military leader of the Council forces, stood before the Assembly. He was massive, nearly 9 feet tall, with armor-plated skin and 4 arms. He had fought in 100 wars across 1,000 worlds. "This is primitive posturing," Walter announced. "They're desperate, so they're making threats they cannot possibly fulfill. No species would commit such resources to a revenge plot spanning centuries. It's illogical. Wasteful. Impossible. But what if it's real? Asked Council Member Vera, one of the few dissenting voices. Then we'll find the drones and destroy them, Walter said dismissively. Our technology is superior. Our sensors are better. Once we control Earth's solar system, we'll force them to reveal the drones' locations and trajectories. And if they refuse? Vera pressed. Walter's expression hardened. Then we'll extract the information from their computers. From their scientists. We have methods. The vote was called. The holographic display showed the results. 847 in favor of invasion. 3 opposed. Earth's fate was sealed. But deep in the asteroid belt, humanity was preparing. Hidden facilities activated across the solar system. Weapons came online. Ships moved into position. Soldiers who had been training for 3 years straight checked their equipment one final time. In a bunker beneath Antarctica, Rebecca watched the long-range sensors. The Council fleet was gathering at the edge of the solar system. 500 warships. The largest invasion force in recorded history. They're coming, she said quietly. William stood beside her. Do you think they'll believe us? After they see what we can do? Rebecca smiled grimly. They don't need to believe us now. They just need to survive long enough to learn. The Council has ruled for 100,000 years because they're smart. Careful. They avoid fights they can't win cleanly. And we're going to make this fight very, very messy, General Blake added, joining them. Exactly, Rebecca said. We're going to make them bleed. We're going to make them scared. We're going to show them that conquering humanity costs more than any victory is worth. She activated the communication system that linked every military installation, every ship, every soldier on Earth and beyond. This is Commander Stone, she announced. The Council fleet is approaching. In 72 hours the Second War begins. Remember what they did to us. Remember the 5 billion we lost. Remember that we're not fighting to win, we're fighting to make them regret ever hearing Earth's name. She paused, then continued. Activate Prometheus chain on my command. Prepare all Reaper drone protocols. And get ready to show the galaxy what humanity does when cornered. If we die today, she said quietly, we die knowing that our revenge is already flying through space. Patient. Unstoppable. Waiting. The countdown reached 0. The Council fleet entered the solar system. And humanity prepared to turn their home into a graveyard that would swallow both sides. The Council fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system like a swarm of metal locusts. 500 warships, each one larger than Earth's biggest aircraft carrier. Supreme Commander Walter Crane stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Victory, and watched the tactical display with satisfaction. All ships report ready, his second-in-command announced. We have complete superiority. Intelligence shows minimal human fleet presence. Walter nodded. This would be quick. The humans had fought bravely 3 years ago, but bravery meant nothing against overwhelming force. By tomorrow, Earth would be a Council possession and humanity would learn their proper place in the galactic order. Advance toward the inner system, he commanded. Standard bombardment formation. Destroy any resistance, then begin orbital strikes on major population centers. The fleet moved forward like a tidal wave of steel and fire. But something felt wrong. Sir, the sensor officer called out. Mars colony is showing no activity. No power signatures. No communications. They evacuated, Walter said dismissively. Cowards running to their homeworld. Europa Station is also dark. And Titan Base. And the mining facilities in the asteroid belt. Everything is silent. Walter frowned. All of them? Show me visual confirmation. The main screen shifted to show live feeds from scout drones. Mars looked abandoned. Buildings intact but empty like a ghost town. Europa's ice facilities sat dark and cold. Even the automated mining stations that should have been running regardless of the war were completely shut down. It's a trap, whispered Captain Jennifer Cole, Walter's tactical advisor. She had survived the first war with humanity. She knew how they thought. Obviously, Walter replied. But what kind of trap can stop 500 warships? He got his answer 30 seconds later. The first missile appeared on sensors traveling at 90% light speed. Then another. Then 100 more. They had been launched weeks ago, accelerated by Jupiter's massive gravity well, hidden in the planet's radiation shadow until the perfect moment. Evasive action. Walter roared. Too late. The relativistic missiles struck the forward element of his fleet with the force of nuclear explosions. Shields that could withstand sustained weapons fire simply vanished under the kinetic impact. 10 warships became expanding clouds of debris in seconds. Return fire. Find the launch point. Can't locate it, sir. They're not transmitting. They're just... More explosions. The abandoned facilities across the solar system erupted simultaneously. Mars colony's fusion reactors detonated in sequence, creating a chain reaction that incinerated everything within 1,000 kilometers, including the 12 Council ships that had moved in to investigate. Europa Station turned out to be one giant bomb wrapped in ice. It took 15 more ships with it. They weaponized their own colonies, Jennifer breathed in horror. They turned everything into a trap. The asteroid belt came alive. Thousands of small objects that sensors had dismissed as debris suddenly activated, kamikaze drones, each one piloted by a human who had been in cryogenic sleep for 3 years, waiting for this exact moment. Private David Foster woke up in his tiny cockpit, alarms screaming. His mission briefing played automatically. You are humanity's last weapon. Make your death count. He aimed his drone at the nearest Council warship and pushed the throttle to maximum. Around him, thousands of other humans did the same thing. They had volunteered for this. One-way missions. No chance of survival. Just the opportunity to take enemy ships with them when they died. David's drone punched through the warship's hull and detonated its payload, a crude nuclear device strapped to every available surface. The explosion ripped the ship in half. He died instantly. He died smiling. Within 4 hours, the Council fleet had lost 200 ships. Walter Crane stood on his damaged bridge, watching his perfect invasion fall apart. How? He whispered. How are they doing this? They planned for this, sir, Jennifer said. For 3 years. They knew we'd come back. They prepared every weapon, every trap, every desperate tactic they could imagine. We still have 300 ships, Walter snarled. More than enough. Move into bombardment range around Earth. We end this now. The remaining fleet formed a sphere around Earth, weapons charging. Enough firepower to crack the planet's crust. To boil the oceans. To ensure humanity could never threaten the Council again. Commander Rebecca Stone watched from her command bunker deep beneath Antarctica. The moment she had been dreading and planning for had arrived. All ships report ready, General Marcus Blake said beside her. 50 ships against 300. Not good odds. We don't need good odds, Rebecca replied. We just need them close enough. She reached for the control panel that would activate Prometheus Chain. Her hand hesitated over the button. Once she pressed it, there would be no going back. The solar system would become a cage. Both fleets trapped. Both sides forced into close-quarters combat where humanity's suicidal tactics would matter more than superior technology. Do it, Blake said quietly. Make them pay. Rebecca pressed the button. Across the solar system, buried antimatter devices detonated in perfect synchronization. Not large explosions, these weren't meant to destroy. They were meant to disrupt. Massive electromagnetic pulses rippled through space. Radiation storms bloomed like deadly flowers. On the Eternal Victory, every screen went dark simultaneously. Emergency lights flickered on. Alarms screamed. Report. Walter shouted. Faster than light drives offline. Long-range sensors blind. Communications limited to line of sight only. The sensor officer's voice cracked with panic. Sir, we can't leave the system. We can't even see beyond local space. The radiation is interfering with everything. Jennifer's face went pale. They trapped us. They actually trapped us. Walter stared at the tactical display showing the radiation storms spreading throughout the solar system. His fleet was stuck here. Couldn't retreat. Couldn't call for reinforcements. The Council wouldn't even know what happened for months. A communication channel crackled to life. Rebecca Stone's face appeared on every Council ship's screen simultaneously. Welcome to Earth's solar system, Commander Crane, she said coldly. I hope you're comfortable because you're not leaving. Your faster-than-light drives are dead. Your long-range communications are jammed. You're trapped here with us. You've doomed yourselves. Walter roared. We still have 300 ships. We'll crush you. Maybe, Rebecca agreed. Probably. But how many ships will you lose? How many of your soldiers will die? Because I promise you this, we're going to make every meter of space cost you blood. We're going to board your ships and fight you in your own corridors. We're going to ram our burning wrecks into your hulls. We're going to make you earn this victory one corpse at a time. She leaned closer to the camera. And here's the best part, Commander. Even if you win, even if you kill every last human in this solar system, those Reaper drones are still out there, flying toward your homeworld. flying toward every world you love. And when we go silent, when Earth stops broadcasting, they'll activate. Maybe not today. Maybe not for 500 years. But eventually. Walter felt something he had never experienced in 600 years of military service. Fear. You can die here with us, Rebecca continued. Or you can negotiate. Those are your only options. Because nobody escapes this system now. Nobody calls for help. It's just you and us, trapped together. So tell me, Commander, how much is conquering Earth really worth to you? The communication ended. Walter stood frozen, staring at the spot where her face had been. Around Earth, the human fleet, 50 battered ships crewed by people who had already accepted death, moved into attack formation. Sir? Jennifer asked quietly. Your orders? Walter looked at the tactical display. 300 ships versus 50. He should win easily. But the radiation storms meant close combat. Boarding actions. The kind of brutal, grinding warfare where humans excelled. Where their willingness to die actually mattered. And even if he won those drones, prepare for engagement, he said finally. But also prepare a communication channel to Commander Stone. Flag it as diplomatic priority. Jennifer's eyes widened. Sir? Just do it, Walter snapped. And pray to whatever gods you believe in that we can find a way out of this without destroying the galaxy. The battle was about to begin. Not the clean, distant orbital warfare the Council preferred. But something far worse. Something intimate and terrible. Humanity's kind of war. Private James Burton woke up strapped into a breaching pod barely large enough to fit his body. The metal coffin shook violently as thrusters fired. Through the tiny viewport, he saw a Council warship growing larger. His target. 30 seconds to impact, the automated voice announced. Remember your mission. Remember Earth. James checked his equipment one final time. Rifle. Grenades. And the vest, 20 pounds of explosives wired to a dead man's switch on his wrist. If his heart stopped beating, the vest detonated automatically. Every human soldier wore one now. It was standard equipment. His pod slammed into the Council ship's hull with bone-jarring force. Cutting lasers activated automatically, burning through the armor plating. Air hissed out. Alarm screamed. James kicked the pod door open and jumped into the corridor, rifle raised. 3 Council soldiers stood there, surprised. They were tall, armored, carrying weapons that could vaporize a human with one shot. James fired first. His bullets barely scratched their armor, but the muzzle flash blinded their sensors for a crucial second. He charged forward screaming, tackled the nearest soldier, and pressed his dead man's switch. The explosion killed them all. Across the battlefield, this scene repeated 1,000 times. Human boarding parties rammed into Council ships like parasites. They didn't try to capture territory. They didn't care about tactical advantage. They just wanted to kill as many enemies as possible before dying themselves. Captain Robert Hayes piloted his crippled destroyer toward a Council battleship. His ship was dead in space. Engines destroyed, life support failing, half his crew already gone. The Council ship could have finished him with one shot. Instead, they ignored him, focusing on bigger threats. That was their mistake. Robert aimed his drifting wreck at the battleship's reactor section and locked the controls. Then he walked to the bridge viewport and stared at Earth in the distance. He could see the fires burning on the surface. The clouds of ash. The scars where cities used to be. For everyone we lost, he whispered. The destroyer crashed into the battleship at full speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the entire battlefield. On the Eternal Victory's bridge, Supreme Commander Walter Crane watched his tactical display with growing horror. Every few minutes, another ship's icon turned red and disappeared. Not from weapons fire. From boarding actions. From suicide attacks. From humans who fought like they had nothing to lose. Because they didn't. They're using their own deaths as weapons, his weapons officer shouted. Every soldier is a bomb. Every ship is a missile. They don't even try to survive. Lieutenant Helen Price commanded the human cruiser Guardian. Her ship had been hit 3 times. Fires burned in 4 compartments. The medical bay was full of dying crew members. They were losing. But the Council battleship next to her was bigger. More powerful. If it reached bombardment range of Earth, it could kill millions with one salvo. Helen made her decision. All hands, this is the captain. Evacuate to the escape pods. You have 2 minutes. Ma'am, her first officer asked. Where are you going? I'm staying, Helen said calmly. Someone needs to fly this ship into that battleship. And I'm not asking anyone else to die with me. Then you're not asking, the first officer replied. He sat back down at his station. Around the bridge, the rest of the crew did the same. We all volunteered for this mission, the weapons officer said. We knew what it meant. We stay together. Helen felt tears in her eyes but didn't let them fall. Set collision course. Full speed. And someone start playing music. Something loud. Through the ship's speakers, old rock music began blasting. The Guardian accelerated toward the Council battleship, engines screaming, hull groaning, crew singing along to the music as they flew to their deaths. They hit the battleship's bridge section dead center. The explosion was visible from Earth. Deep in the Olympus Station brig, Lord Theron sat in his cell watching the battle through a monitor. Dr. William Carter stood outside, observing him. Why? Theron asked quietly. Why do they fight like this? They've already lost. Earth is burning. Your population is dying. Why not surrender and save who's left? William pulled up a holographic display showing the Reaper drone's trajectories. Because surrender means extinction too. Just slower. At least this way we go down fighting. And we take you with us. He zoomed in on one trajectory. This is your homeworld. Crystal Prime. Population, 14 billion. The Reaper drone heading there will arrive in 470 years. It carries enough weapons to kill everything on the surface 3 times over. Theron stared at the screen, his crystalline skin reflecting the cold blue light. Your great-great-great-grandchildren will be living peaceful lives, William continued. They'll have forgotten this war. Forgotten Earth. Forgotten us. And then one day our revenge will arrive. Silent. Unstoppable. It will burn your world to ash. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. This is madness, Theron whispered. No, William corrected. This is insurance. You asked why we fight like this? Because the weak don't survive by being reasonable. They survive by making the strong fear them. By making victory cost more than anyone wants to pay. He pulled up another image, the radiation storm still blocking all escape from the solar system. Your Commander Crane is trapped here with us. Can't retreat. Can't call for help. He's realizing that even if he wins, even if he kills every human in this system, those drones keep flying. His civilization dies eventually. We're not monsters, Theron said desperately. The Council has brought peace to the galaxy for 100,000 years. You brought peace through dominance, William replied coldly. Through making everyone else submit. But you picked the wrong species to push around. Humans don't submit. We'd rather burn everything than kneel. On the battlefield, Private Lisa Morgan fought through a Council ship's corridor. Her squad was dead. Her armor was breached. She was bleeding from 3 wounds. But ahead of her was the ship's main reactor. She limped forward, leaving a trail of blood. Council soldiers shot at her. Their weapons hit her in the shoulder, the leg, the chest. She kept moving. Kept crawling when she couldn't walk anymore. She reached the reactor door. Her vision was fading. Her fingers were numb. She pulled the explosive charge from her belt and set the timer for 5 seconds. For Earth, she whispered. For home. The explosion ripped through the ship's power core. The entire vessel went dark, then began tearing itself apart from internal explosions. Walter Crane stood frozen on his bridge, watching ship after ship fall to these insane tactics. His fleet still had numerical advantage. They were still winning, technically. But the cost. Casualty report, he demanded. His second officer hesitated. 70,000 dead, sir. Another 100,000 wounded. We've lost 98 ships total. And many of our surviving crews are requesting psychiatric evaluation. They've never fought an enemy like this before. Walter understood. He had fought 100 wars but never against an enemy that weaponized their own deaths. That turned every soldier into a potential bomb. That sang songs while flying suicide missions. That smiled as they died. It was breaking his soldiers' morale. How do you fight an enemy that's already accepted death? Sir, incoming transmission from Earth, the communications officer announced. It's Commander Stone. Flagged as urgent diplomatic priority. Walter's jaw clenched. Put it through. Rebecca Stone appeared on screen. She looked exhausted, wounded, covered in dust and blood. But her eyes still burned with defiance. Commander Crane, she said. Are you ready to talk yet? Or do we need to kill another 100,000 of your soldiers first? Walter glanced at his tactical display. His fleet was winning. Slowly. Painfully. But winning. Yet even if they won. What are your terms? He asked quietly. Around the bridge, his officers stared in shock. The supreme commander of the Council forces was negotiating with a defeated enemy? But Rebecca smiled, a terrible, knowing smile. Smart choice, Commander. Because I was about to give an order that would have killed us all. Every human ship, every station, every last person, all rigged to self-destruct simultaneously. One massive explosion that would have taken half your remaining fleet with us. She leaned forward. You can win this battle, Commander. But can you afford the victory? How many more ships will you lose? How many soldiers? And even after you win, those Reaper drones keep flying. Your homeworld dies in 5 centuries no matter what. Walter closed his eyes. 600 years of military service. Thousands of battles. He had never lost. But he had never fought humanity before. State your terms, he said finally. The communication channel crackled with static as Commander Rebecca Stone stared at Supreme Commander Walter Crane through the flickering hologram. Behind her, the command bunker walls shook from distant explosions. Earth was dying, but humanity was still fighting. Immediate withdrawal of all Council forces from the solar system, Rebecca began, her voice steady despite the blood seeping through the bandage on her shoulder. Every ship, every soldier. You leave within 72 hours. Walter's massive four-armed form tensed. You're in no position to make demands. Aren't I? Rebecca smiled coldly. She pulled up a display showing the radiation storm still trapping his fleet. Your ships can't leave anyway. Not for another month minimum. But I can make that wait very uncomfortable. Or we can end this now. She continued listing her terms. Earth recognized as sovereign territory. Non-aggression treaty for 1,000 years. No Council species may attack humanity during that time. Full embassy exchange. And reparations, you'll help us rebuild what you destroyed. Impossible, Walter said. The Council will never agree. The Council isn't trapped in a dying solar system with an enemy that uses suicide tactics, Rebecca interrupted. You are. You negotiate for them now, or we keep killing your soldiers until there's nobody left to take the deal. General Marcus Blake stepped beside Rebecca. His uniform was burned, his face covered in soot. We've already destroyed 98 of your ships, Commander. We've killed 100,000 of your soldiers. And we're just getting started. Every day you stay we cost you more. How much is your pride worth? Walter looked at his tactical officer, who nodded grimly. The numbers were clear. Even if they won completely, they would lose at least another 100 ships. Maybe more. The humans fought like demons. And the Reaper drones? Walter asked quietly. Rebecca's expression didn't change. They continue their journey. For the next 470 years, every Council world lives under humanity's sword. If we're attacked again by anyone for any reason, if Earth goes silent, they activate automatically. You're holding the entire galaxy hostage, Walter said. Yes, Rebecca agreed simply. That's exactly what we're doing. You came to our home and killed 5 billion people. You tried to enslave us. You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. Congratulations, Commander. You succeeded. Our place is to be the monster that everyone fears. Ambassador Thomas Reed joined the transmission. His hair had gone completely white, aged 20 years in 3. The Council has ruled through military dominance for 100,000 years. You've never faced a species that couldn't be intimidated. Now you have. We're not stronger than you. We're not smarter. But we're willing to burn the galaxy rather than submit. Can you say the same? In his cell on Olympus Station, Lord Theron watched the negotiation on his monitor. Dr. William Carter stood outside, arms crossed. This is insanity, Theron whispered. Trillions of innocent lives threatened for centuries. Where was your concern for innocent lives when you bombed our cities? William replied coldly. When you killed our children. When you turned Earth into a graveyard. He pulled up the Reaper drone trajectories again. Every single one of these drones can be recalled eventually. We built in recall protocols. But only if Earth survives. Only if humanity survives. Your choice is simple. Leave us alone and we'll eventually disarm them. Or attack us again, and watch your civilization die slowly over 5 centuries. Theron's crystalline skin dimmed. What if something goes wrong? What if Earth's signal fails by accident? Then we all die, William said flatly. That's the point. Your survival is now permanently linked to ours. If we thrive, you thrive. If we fall, you fall. We've made ourselves too dangerous to destroy. Back on the Eternal Victory, Walter Crane made his decision. He had ruled the Council military for 600 years. He had crushed 100 rebellions, conquered 1,000 worlds. But he had never fought an enemy like this. An enemy that weaponized their own extinction. I accept your terms, he said finally. Around his bridge, officers gasped. Captain Jennifer Cole stepped forward. Sir, the Council will view this as... The Council isn't here, Walter interrupted sharply. I am. And I'm looking at an enemy that just destroyed nearly 100 warships using 50 ships in suicidal desperation. An enemy that's already sent automated revenge weapons toward every world we care about. An enemy that won't stop fighting even when they've clearly lost. He turned back to Rebecca's image. I accept your terms. We will withdraw. We will sign your treaty. We will pay reparations. And we will never attack Earth again. Smart choice, Rebecca said. Transmit your acceptance to all your ships. Begin withdrawal procedures immediately. And Commander? She leaned closer. If any Council species violates this treaty, if anyone attacks Earth, if we go silent for any reason, those Reaper drones will finish what you started today. The channel closed. Walter stood alone on his bridge, staring at the ruins of his invasion fleet. 98 ships destroyed. Over 100,000 soldiers dead. And humanity had lost billions yet still fought. Begin withdrawal, he ordered quietly. And send a priority message to the Council. Tell them humanity is not to be threatened again. Ever. The Council fleet limped out of the solar system over the next 3 days. Damaged ships. Demoralized crews. Soldiers who had nightmares about humans singing as they flew suicide missions. Earth lay in ruins. 70% of the population dead, 12 billion people. Cities were burning. Oceans were poisoned. The atmosphere was thick with ash that would take decades to clear. It would take centuries to fully recover. But humanity remained undefeated. 10 years later, Rebecca Stone sat in a rebuilt cafe in New York City. The sky was still hazy, still gray, but slowly healing. Around her, people went about their lives. Children played in parks built over old bomb craters. Couples walked hand in hand down streets that had been battlefields. A young reporter approached her table nervously. Commander Stone? May I ask you a few questions? Rebecca gestured to the empty chair. She was retired now, though people still called her Commander. Some titles you earned in blood. Do you regret Prometheus Chain? The reporter asked. All those lives threatened for centuries? Rebecca sipped her coffee and looked out the window at the healing city. The Council ruled for 100,000 years through fear. They crushed anyone who resisted. We showed them a new kind of fear, the fear of an enemy with nothing to lose. Will you ever recall the Reaper drones? Maybe, Rebecca said. In 400 years. Maybe 500. Or maybe we'll let them fly forever. A reminder that humanity doesn't forget. We don't forgive unprovoked invasion. We don't bow to threats. She stood up, leaving money on the table. The Council learned an important lesson. Power isn't just about having the biggest fleet or the best weapons. Power is about making your enemy believe you'll do anything, even destroy the galaxy, rather than surrender. That's what keeps the peace now. Not treaties. Not diplomacy. Fear. The reporter scribbled notes frantically. Some people call you a war criminal. They say threatening trillions of innocent lives is evil? Rebecca finished. Maybe. But we're alive. Earth is sovereign. No Council species has attacked us in 10 years. And they never will again. Because every single day they look at the stars and remember that humanity's revenge is out there. Flying. Waiting. Patient. She walked to the door, then paused. The Council had 100,000 years to learn mercy. They chose dominance instead. We taught them what happens when you corner the desperate. I don't regret that. I only regret it was necessary. In the Galactic Council chamber, 300 light-years away, a new fixture had been installed. An empty seat marked Terra in human letters. Beside it, a holographic display counted down. Reaper drone arrival. 460 years, 127 days, 14 hours. Every Council session began the same way. Ambassador Thomas Reed would stand and ask, "Shall we recall the Reaper drones today?" Every session ended with silence. No species dared vote yes, because that would admit they feared humanity. No species dared vote no, because that would provoke humanity. So they sat in silence, watching the timer count down year after year. Humanity had become the galaxy's nightmare. Not because they were strong. Not because they were advanced. But because they proved that a cornered species with nothing to lose was the most dangerous force in existence. The Council had wanted to teach humanity their place in the galaxy. They succeeded. Humanity's place was to be the monster that everyone feared to wake. The timer continued counting down. 460 years to go. And every species in the galaxy knew that somewhere in the darkness between stars, 3,000 machines were flying toward their worlds. Silent. Patient. Unstoppable. Waiting. always waiting. An Earth signal kept broadcasting into the void, a heartbeat that promised life or death for the entire galaxy. As long as it kept beating, the galaxy survived. The day it stopped, everyone died. That was humanity's final gift to the cosmos. Eternal, patient revenge.